Hello, everybody. We're here for our Wednesday webinar on social media strategies. We're really pleased to have Jennifer LaLonde of the Bridal Dish with us today. And we can always learn something new about social media because it's changing by the minute. So I'm just going to flip over to Jennifer and say hello to Jennifer, everybody.
Hello, everyone. I'm in rainy and unseasonably warm Virginia Beach right now, although I think we're defrosting. I hope everyone else is. What I wanted to do today, and certainly I think we could probably have days and days about social media, but I tried to just tightly combine this for you and try to make some sense of it all, go over some practical tips that I use and some things that I would hope that in every day-to-day actions of your social media you don't lose sight of, and really impact your business and your brand with effective social media. I had built a business, the Bridal Dish, on the use of social media. And so while I certainly do not claim to be an expert, because I think we're constantly learning all of the time, I have really embraced the use of social media in being able to grow your business. I own the Bridal Dish. It's a complimentary wedding planning studio, and it's something that I started after my full-service event planning company to help brides that either don't realize they need a full-service planner yet or don't choose to use a full-service planner, but I wanted to get them going in the right direction. And it is a complimentary service to them, and I network with preferred vendors that I handpick, and I help get them connected with potential clients. I help to promote them, and I help to consult with them if they have questions. In particular, one of the things I help a lot of them with is the use of social media to grow their business. This is a great add-on business. I have licensed it, and it's available as an add-on to anyone that has a current business with connections to vendors in the event planning industry. I think a lot of times we refer our vendors anyway, but how do we keep that business local on a local level and connect good clients with good vendors? And again, I do a lot with social media. So those are the things I wanted to share that I use for my business that work for me. And I picked out 10 things that I think will really help us make sense of everything, but in the same sense, allow us to make impact and keep things real, not let our social media control us, but try to control it so that we can have, I included a little snapshot of my family down at the bottom being silly, but so we can have a life, so that we can be growing our business and letting social media work for us while we're actually enjoying some family time or getting to other parts of our business that are so important. So what I first want to comment on is a word that it's a buzzword. A lot of us hear people saying, and that's the use, of all the social media, what should you spend the most time on? And a buzzword you're starting to hear more and more is Pinstabook, which is a combination of Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook. And then Twitter is where we also spend a lot of our time. And I'll probably focus the most on that today, Pinstabook and Twitter. But I don't want to overlook how important YouTube and blogging and newsletters can be. And we won't talk too much about that, but of course I don't want to ignore those areas. So we'll go ahead and start with our number one thing. And this is something that I think is so, so important. We get on to Pinterest and Facebook and we start liking things and tagging things and sharing things. But are you keeping sight of that number one goal, which is, while the average person is getting on to decompress or get ideas or find recipes or plan their event, we're on there for one reason when we're working for our business, and that is to drive potential clients to our business. I think it's really easy to lose sight of that. Maybe, if I would even be so bold as to say, get a little lazy and forget to do social media and do it smart so that we're bringing clients back to our website, making sure we're sharing our contact information so that they can get to our website, they can email us, they know where our locations are, they can make an appointment. And one of the things you'll hear me say today time and time again is to make sure when we're doing our social media, number one, you're not losing sight of your goal, which is getting them back to your business, but we're also asking them to do something. We're making a call of action. We're not just showing them something pretty or giving them inspiration, but we're asking them to act upon that by utilizing your business to get whatever inspiration or piece of education that you're showing them.
I have a quick question, Jennifer. How you can drive people through posting on Pinterest back to your website. Is it important to do like a hashtag or an @ symbol?
With Pinterest, it is important you want to hashtag the topic in which that you're talking about. When people search things on Twitter, on Pinterest, they do search with a hashtag, and then, or not a hashtag, but they search the topic. So if you've hashtagged that subject matter when you're writing out your information about your post that you're going to be making, and you put that hashtag bridal bouquets or hashtag winter centerpieces for wedding, those things will come up then when they're searching. And we always hyperlink our website as well. So if you like this idea for winter centerpieces, hashtag winter centerpieces, be sure to visit our florist at www.thebridaldish.com. So we're always trying to bring people back to our website where they can find someone who can provide the inspiration that we're showing. So again, that call to action, putting something that will make them click on your link, make an action, and come back to your business. So the second thing, a lot of times people are just, I want to get onto social media and I just want to push my business to anyone and everyone. And I'm not saying that that's not bad, of course, but I think it's much more, you're going to have more impact if you know your market, number one. Who is your target market? Who is it that you're trying to use in order to have your business be found? Are you looking at someone, specifically, for instance, we're wedding planning, so obviously one of the target areas we want to hit is an age group that is getting engaged, that are engaged. So know the age of the target market you're trying to hit. Are they male? Are they female? Where do they live? A lot of time with social media, if your business is located in a certain area, that's great if someone, if I'm in Virginia Beach and someone in Wisconsin is liking my stuff, that's great if they're going to travel from Wisconsin to Virginia Beach and have a destination wedding. But if they're just liking things because they think it's cool, I'm not saying that's bad. You never know who you're going to be exposed to. But when you're really making a pointed effort, the people in Wisconsin may not always be my first priority. So really knowing that target market, doing your research and finding out what is the age, are they male or female, where do they live, what are their interests, what are the things in that demographic that they like to do, because you're going to want to follow those types of things and you're going to want to share that type of thing because that will attract them to your social media sites. And then the last, which is super, super important because it's the timing of when you do your social media, what are the habits of those people? And this is going to be very interesting because for many different businesses, it's going to be very, very different. I was working recently with a museum here locally, and I was working with their staff on helping them to increase their social media. And they had one sort of platform, and it was really based on the museum and the art programs that are offered, which are typically utilized by stay-at-home moms and children and their summer camps. But they were trying to grow their wedding business. But they were posting information about the wedding business at the museum. At the same time, they were posting the things they normally posted about art classes and clay and ceramics and all of this. And they were not they were not hitting the market they wanted because the people who marry at 10 o'clock in the morning, they're at work. They're not necessarily on social media. Instead of the moms whose kids have gone down for their nap and they were on social media. So they were hitting people, but the people weren't engaging in it because it wasn't something that they were interested in. So you need to know that habit. People used to get up in the morning and grab the paper and read the paper. Now they get up in the morning, they grab their phones, they grab their iPads, and they start to check their social media. They read the news on the web. So those are things that you want to make sure your business is adjusting for the habits of the clients that you're trying to reach. We always, make sure that we have posts out on Facebook in particular in the morning between 6 and 9:30 because they do check things in the morning. So knowing the habits of those people and timing is everything, and just not losing sight of that, knowing your market and going after who you're trying to attack and get them to come to your business. The next part that sadly I find to be very overlooked is knowing the analytics of your website and constantly staying on top of the analytics of your website. So if you have a website for your business, it's very important to know where you're spending your time and is it bringing people to your website. Where are you spending your time and your money, if it's advertisement that you're paying for, to know that you're getting clicks through to your website. So if you have created your own website or you're working with a web designer, I'm shocked when I go to consult with clients and find out how many people don't necessarily know how to access the analytics of their website. Your website should be coded. Each page should be coded. If it's something that you aren't aware of, you can easily talk with your web designer. It could very well be done. You just haven't actually logged in and looked at the analytics. Or if you're making your own website, it's something that can easily be done. You just follow the directions through Google to get yourself a Google Analytic code. It can be uploaded to each of your pages, and you can begin to track where your traffic's coming from for your website. Just as important to know where people are coming from and getting to your website, same goes for your social media, and that goes across all formats. And they're making it very easy now to be able to access your analytics for Pinterest. If you have business pages, business analytics for Pinterest, Twitter, and Facebook are all very easy now to follow, which is, again, very important to make sure that your people who are following you are the client that you want. They're coming from the geography that you want. And also pay attention to what it is that they like. When are you seeing them engage? When are you seeing them play a video? When are you seeing them look through the pictures that you have uploaded? When is the reach the highest? So it gives you an idea of the busiest times for you to post for your business. It gives you an idea of what they like, gives you an idea of what they're indifferent about, so that you know what to post more of and what to post less of. And again, that's just that bottom. Analytics reinforce and direct you for when and what to post. And again, I'm not really sharing anything that's rocket science, but it's very important that we stay on top of this every single day. I have my staff constantly monitoring this because it does change. The silliest things will change. A snowstorm, which we've all on the East Coast been subject to, really changed our traffic. March Madness will change our traffic. Football season will change our traffic. So it's something you really want to stay on top of, because what is working through the summer hours may be entirely different through the Christmas season. So something to stay on top of. So number 4, I kind of really just surmise this as be found. Again, you want to use terms that are going to bring people back to you. So when you're creating your Pinterest boards, don't just put centerpieces. It's too vague. Maybe you want to separate your Pinterest boards that you create, or if you're a cake maker, separate your boards into different themes of the cakes that you're tipping. If you have a nautical theme, or you're having a steampunk theme, cakes, so using the word wedding cake, which is always important, but what kind of wedding cake? Yes, you have a spring wedding, but is it a vintage spring wedding, or is it a whimsical spring wedding? Trying to use words that when they search in whimsical wedding ideas, your Pinterest board is going to pop up. And the same holds true for Instagram. You can search on different topics, and same for Twitter. You can search on topics. When you also search on those topics, it will show you, what are the most important, or I should say the most popular of those types, and then you can share those items if it's something that you think will attract customers, and be sure again to bring them back to your business by including your website, or saying that that's an inspiration, giving nod to the original content holder, but saying it's an inspiration that some of that your company could provide them. Yeah. On number 5, I call dumping. I don't really know there's probably a professional term for it, but don't dump your posts. Again, as I had mentioned before, a lot of times social media, we know it's important. We've embraced that it's important to help us grow our businesses and our brands, but it gets done when we have time to do it. And so we will go ahead and make a 7 shares on Facebook all at once, and then you don't hear from a company for 3 days. That is not the most effective time to be able, for you to be able to move forward and be able to actually get the type of likes that you're going to want to get. When you post something on Facebook, it lasts for 3 hours. Then it gets pushed so far down in the news feeds that they don't see that. Right. So you do want to make sure that when you're posting, give yourself some time to give that post a life. Don't post. Post, take a couple hours break, come back. And this is something that's very important with Facebook. It's not something that's going to be so important maybe with Twitter and some of the faster feed items. But Facebook is something, because people, they start to not see you. They start to kind of blank you out because you're on all the time.
Now, for something like a Twitter, would you recommend using like TweetDeck or a format like that where you can plan out a week's worth of tweets and when they're going to happen?
You can use different services, and with one of probably the most popular is Hootsuite. There's different services you can use to do scheduling for you, and you pay a monthly fee for that, and that can free a lot of time up. There are some disadvantages, though, when in particular you run a business like I do, and that is it doesn't allow you to always tag the businesses for Facebook, where you want, the more companies that you tag and you can include and give credit to in your posts is going to give more legs and reach to that post. And some of the systems don't always let you do that. So just to kind of let you know, yes, there are systems out there, and it can make your life a lot easier. In particular for Twitter, I think it's great, but it's not always something. You don't want to rely on it for your only source, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. You still have to have a human in there somewhere. There has to be a real person that's checking on things. So number 6, one of the things that I think is overlooked is, while you very much want to make sure that you're posting things and sharing things and tweeting things at an important time that's going to reach clients, you want to make sure that I call it sprinkling. So just as much as you're sharing things, you want to go through and make sure that your company likes things, for example, on Facebook, or that they love things by hitting the heart button on Pinterest and on Instagram, because that sprinkles your company name through other people's social media platforms. So in particular, you want to make sure that you like your competitors' stuff. And sometimes at first they'll take people back a little bit and say, well, why would I want to like, my competitors' stuff? I do it, and it works really well for my company. One, because I think it's great to show support for each other, but I also think that if you get your name on your competitor's page, that's a great way to do it. And maybe if they're not syncing 100%, then you can still always be able to click on your business and see what you may have to offer. So it's a good way for a portal for them to lead to you. Another great way to leverage and get content, in particular on Twitter, and Instagram as well, is to follow pop culture and interact with celebrities. One of the fastest ways to grow your business is to try to put out and follow things that are of interest to that age group. So Walking Dead, which I am personally a little obsessed with, I'm not going to lie. So it's not a real hardship for me to watch Walking Dead, but I always watch Walking Dead live, and I tweet about what's going on with Walking Dead at the same time as I am, as I'm watching the show, I'm tweeting about the show, because the people that watch Walking Dead are my demographic that I'm trying to hit. On Twitter, it's a little bit hard to keep it at a local level, but I do still find that it's very effective, and it's important for me. I do want to continue to grow nationally, so it is important for me to reach outside of our parameters. And a lot of other businesses can travel outside of their area and perform their services as well. When the Oscars were on, I tweeted along with the Oscars. A lot of what I have to do has to do with fashion, so that was an easy mix. When the whole is it black or blue and black or gold and white, we tweeted about that a little bit. Not too much because it was starting to get on my nerves, but we did follow along with that because it did help to grow. So in an hour's time, I can gain 3, 4, 5 followers on Twitter easily, sometimes more, just by following something. When the pearl dress on the far left was stolen, I was able to get some growth on that just because of being able to add a little bit of spice about, oh my gosh, the dress got stolen. It's just interesting. People like that. So yes, Lori asked, would you do a hashtag for the name of that show, Walking Dead? Walking Dead has a hashtag that they always put up in the corner of the show, and a lot of the shows will. When I was watching the Oscars and I was on the entertainment red carpet show, they had red carpet or something like that, and it'll show you the hashtag. So hashtag for Walking Dead. Usually they have like a character that they'll have you hashtagging, but it'll always show you kind of what the national hashtag is, and you can be using that. Also, they'll have one for Dancing with the Stars that we'll use, and so usually they can, but if not, you can just search Walking Dead up in the search for Twitter, and then you'll start to see whatever the hashtag is that people's following, and you'll get more legs on things by hashtagging it often than you will directly using the @ for the show. If you want to expose yourself amongst the people who are talking about it right at that instant, it's always good to use the hashtag. Another show that I follow quite a bit, and they'll follow me as well back, is Jimmy Fallon. He always has ridiculous things on that are just so funny, and I'll tweet something, just one little liner about something funny that he had on the show. Jennifer Lopez was on one time singing a song with him, and that got a lot of legs at it. So hashtagging those type of things, and yes, it can be the show name, or sometimes they'll come up with a shortened version of it that'll work. So number 7, join the crowd is something that I have started to do by really making sure that I identify who the leaders currently and up and coming are in the industry, and I always want to make sure that I'm following them. And this can be done a couple of different ways. They allow you, for instance, on Facebook to pick some pages that you want to follow and see what they're doing, see what they're up to. So I always try to follow the competition and the leaders in our industry to see what they're posting and see what's successful and what's working for them, and look at their reach, look at their likes, look at their interactions. And I don't turn around and always share the same thing or post the same thing and copy them, but I look more at the idea of the content, and then I try to create that for my business. Another thing that I like to do is create group pages for our followers. So if we're talking about a certain event, we'll create a page, and then every time we post something on that event, if we post something and we have followers for that page, they'll get an automatic reminder that they'll get a notification that says something's been posted about the event. It just really helps to keep your event and your business on their minds. We have a page we'll do for hair and makeup. We have a page specifically just for our preferred vendors of the bridal dish so that I can communicate with them when we're having events or we're having a get-together, a quarterly meeting. If someone's looking for certain something, they can communicate and network with each other to help find a different resource. And then another thing too is I do try to save a little bit of time. Again, I'm not real big on Hootsuite, and I'm not saying don't use it. I'm just saying because of the type of the business that I use, we do a lot of our work. A human does it. So cross-promoting, there's certain times that it isn't poor form to connect to your social media, like Twitter and Instagram is usually pretty okay. People are okay with that. What you don't want to do is connect two of your social media sources, in particular Facebook and Twitter. Being connected is very poor form. And you don't want so that every single post you make on Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest goes on your Twitter feed. That is extremely annoying to people who follow Twitter regularly. But if you have the option and you're doing something that is cool and you want to share just that particular Instagram photo on Twitter, you can click both boxes and be able to share it on both things. So don't have it be an automatic connection. That's usually never a good idea. But when you can select a box and you think it's something that will do well on both, you can go ahead and share it on both. And that is a time saver, but don't make a habit of having it always be an automatic thing, if that makes sense.
That is a good point, because sometimes, your people are following you on everything. So pick and choose, right?
Yes. And number 8, I always tell my staff is that, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single day. So to save time, you can reuse posts. And one of the things that we like to do is if you have something that was retweeted quite a bit, shared quite a bit, got a tremendous amount of likes, if you had a blog entry that did really well and got some good interaction, again, that call to action that you're looking for from your client, potential client, getting them back to your website, never losing sight of that goal, kind of put it off to the side and make a note of it. We have a little special file that we have links and things that we save that maybe 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, if it's still trend relevant, we'll go ahead and repost that. Our followers in wedding industry constantly getting engaged, constantly new people are coming into that mix. So while some people may have seen it, it was a while ago, and a lot of our followers may have not seen it at all. So if you see things that are going well, save yourself some time down the road. If you know it did well for you, hold on to it and repost it at a later date. Another thing is we cross the formats of the social media that we use. So if we see a post on Pinterest, if something's pinned to Pinterest and that picture is going viral, shall we say, or doing really, really well and getting likes and shares and what have you, keeping the original content because we want to give credit to the photographer or the source that originally put it up where it came from, but we will cut and paste that and save it, and then we'll put it on Twitter or we'll put it on Facebook as an individually new crafted post. So if we know something did really well on Pinterest, we'll then cut and save that and we'll use it on our Twitter and our Facebook. And we find that typically if it does well on Pinterest, it's going to do well on Facebook. Again, keeping the truth of the original content, but also trying to use that inspiration and telling it's something that you could do with your business. So linking it back and a call to action to get them to come back to your website and including your website hyperlink in that post. Number 9 So, one of the biggest mistakes that we see, in particular with newsletters and blogs, but it same holds true, I think, for Facebook, and is that pictures and videos sell, they work. And if you are able to, the more visual content you can post and videos, short videos, 30 seconds to a minute, no more than a minute and a half, typically work the best. But they command the most um, traction for you and call to action, getting people to click on it and watch it and follow through to your website. That works very, very well. I have keep calm and delay gratification. Um, I hate to say this, but everything's so fast in our society now. People don't want to read. They don't want to read long, long blogs anymore. They don't want to read wordy, wordy newsletters. So keep the verbiage short, sweet, and to the point, and load it heavy with video and pictures. That does work a lot better, and you will find that you'll get more interaction from it. And the same holds true for Facebook as well. And number 10, we've talked about this throughout, but that call to action. You know, really that call to action can mean a lot of different things for a lot of people. It can pick up the phone and call us. It can be go to our website. For me, it's go to my preferred vendor directory. It could be call me to bring the bridal dish to your city. So whatever it is that you're trying to promote, never lose sight of that main goal of driving potential clients back to your business and asking them to interact with the post. And I don't always mean it has to be, you know, here's a beautiful gown by blah, blah, blah. What do you think? Well, that doesn't always work anymore, in particular because as people continue to comment on the post, it will notify them that somebody else commented on a post that you commented on. And I've noticed that a lot of social media followers are just kind of like not even wanting to comment anymore because they don't want to constantly be getting that notification. So it's more about getting them from your post, whatever you're sharing, whatever you're pinning, and actually getting them to go wherever it is you want to go to learn more about whatever it is that you're posting. So for me, that's more that call to action, including that hyperlink, and then trying to watch that in your analytics to see if it's working for you. And whatever's working, continue to try to grow that and repeat that model. Of course, making it look different with different pictures and different topic and subject matter, but still getting them to the place that you were wanting to get them for, you know, to in the first place. So I have that quote, start strong, stay strong, and finish strong by always remembering why you're doing it in the first place. And if that's you doing the social media or your staff doing the social media or setting up a system to do social media for you, make sure that you're really thinking about who you want to target, what you want to target, and making sure that that's the clientele that you're going after. And don't lose sight of that. That should always be your goal. And the timing that you're doing social media, what you're doing, and that call to action to get them to find your business from there and grow and follow you and have other people follow you. Those are the things that I try to keep everyone together with the most. But I did want to make sure that you have all the different social media areas that you can look at from me. And if you want to contact me or ask any questions, I am more than happy to share any information with you. I think it's important, you know, that we all help each other kind of figure this puzzle out together and do what's best for you know, for our brands. A lot of the social media that we use there's no cost to it. It's definitely an added benefit, but it's tricky and you have to stay on top of it and really know what is working with you and review your analytics to make sure that that's happening. Beth says, I'm a wedding planner on the Outer Banks. I've only pinned pictures on my Pinterest from weddings I've done. What do you think of that? Absolutely. I think it's very important that you have a real life, I think you have to have a real life weddings, and you know, your work that should definitely be aboard on your Pinterest. But what Pinterest and again, I just gave 10 tips. I have a whole lecture I do just on Pinterest and how to use Pinterest for your business. But Pinterest is really one of the best ways to attract clients that you want. And you're able to create boards that will bring clients, potential clients to you. So while it's very important to do your own work, inspiration is what Pinterest is for. When they come to meet with you, I'm sure they bring their Pinterest boards. I teach a whole nother class on how to use Pinterest to plan your wedding to potential brides. So I think it would be great for you, Beth, if you started to do more of pinning inspirations and things that as an event planner in the Outer Banks, you could accomplish for your clients. So many people travel to Nag's Head and Corolla, Duck, and to be able to show them, I mean, there's some great photos from down in your area that maybe aren't your weddings, but you could show, how a wedding in a private home or any of the areas down there would be fantastic, and that you would be able to accomplish with your company, and do it in a fashion where you keep things at whatever money level you're hoping to bring in. So if you want to just stick to high-end weddings, of course you want to show a little bit more of high-end work, but again, it creates that platform for you to bring the content and type of clients that you want to your door. What are your measurement tools used to determine if your social media campaign is successful? Well, a lot of times the goals that you're setting for your social media campaign is going to be what determines it's successful for you. I'll get really excited if, say, I do pay sometimes for advertisement on social media. It's very inexpensive, and I can get an event that we run called the Reception Line. We do that a lot for that, that we can get in front of a good number of people, and I can set the parameters to make sure I know where they live and that they're living close enough to come to the show and they're the right age range for the show, all of that. But how do I know it's successful? Well, I can get a lot of impressions, and I don't always use that to be the best judge. What I want to know is who clicked through, who actually was the call to action, who clicked on the website, who clicked on the link to go get tickets. A lot of people can see your stuff, and that's great, but who acted on it? Just because you're on social media at the right time and you get your stuff in front of a number of people, is it the right people, and did they click on it to actually look at the content that you are trying to get out there? So that's how I personally measure, is usually click-throughs, if they expanded in more detail on a tweet. Did they click through to the links? Did I see my ticket purchase sale go up, if that is what I was trying to promote? Those are the measurements for me. The same with, a lot of times you'll see people that have a ton of followers, and they'll say, well, I have a lot of followers on Facebook, and maybe they do. I only have, I don't know, I think we're like heading towards 4,000 on Facebook, which I think is it's a nice amount, but it's not huge. But what I like about it is when you break my demographic down for my locations, that's the people that follow it are people that can utilize the business. So I don't want to have 7,000 likes if I can't service them with my business. That doesn't prove to be successful for me. So that's how I measure success, and that's a tool that I would look at when you're looking through the analytics. Did they click through to your website? And when you go to your website analytics, how long did they stay? Did they click it and leave automatically, or did they click it, like what they saw, and were really on a mission to learn more?
I just want to say thank you so much, Jennifer, and we'll make sure that your contact information is also provided as a follow-up. So if something does come up, if you wouldn't mind, you can reach out directly to folks if they have questions about the bridal dish or about techniques that you're doing with social media.
Absolutely.
That would be right. So thank you so much
for having me. It was wonderful.
Thanks for joining us, and look for our next webinar coming up in the next week or so.